the Health Secretary Sajid Javid there. Just to make clear, that was before the announcement. But let's go to Westminster and to my colleague Victoria Derbyshire, who's there now. Victoria, what's the latest?
Hi, good morning. The latest is that there is a vote of no confidence in the Prime Minister tonight, and Conservative MPs are returning from their constituencies after the Jubilee weekend, and they will take part in this vote of no confidence. I think it's worth just pausing for a moment and just talking through what's happened so far today. At about 6:30 UK time this morning, our political correspondent Helen Catt was on BBC Radio 4 when she was live on air when she received a text from a Conservative MP who doesn't support the Prime Minister saying that a no confidence vote was imminent. So that was about 6:30. About 7:30 on BBC Breakfast, we heard the Health Secretary Sajid Javid saying he thought a vote was likely. Then between 7:30 and 8, we had a former minister, Jessie Norman, release a pretty devastating letter to the Prime Minister. Jessie Norman is Conservative MP for Hereford and South Herefordshire. And in the letter, he said that Boris Johnson had presided over a casual culture of lawmaking, and Mr Norman did not support Mr Johnson anymore. And then 8:15 UK time, the man in charge of essentially this kind of contest, a man called Sir Graham Brady, a Conservative MP, announced live on BBC Breakfast the threshold for a no confidence vote in the Prime Minister had been reached, and he was asked if some of the letters had effectively been post-dated, i.e. Conservative MPs had sent their letters or emails to Mr Brady, perhaps before the recess of the last 10 days or so, perhaps before the Jubilee weekend, but had put yesterday's date on or perhaps this morning's date on. He said, yeah, that's a reasonably accurate description. So that was 8:15. We're now 9:30 UK time. Number 10 say this is a chance to draw a line under the whole affair and move on. We're going to talk to a Conservative MP who came back to Westminster last night from his northwest Leicestershire constituency. He's called Andrew Bridgen. Mr Bridgen, good morning to you. Just do step into shot here for our viewers on BBC News and BBC World. Good morning to you. Why are you being so disloyal?
Well, my loyalty is to, first of all, the country and to my constituents. In the UK, we don't vote for a president or a Prime Minister. The Prime Minister is there by being the leader of the party with the most MPs after a general election, and he remains Prime Minister while he maintains the confidence of those MPs. And tonight we're going to have a vote and see if Boris Johnson maintains that confidence.
This is a man who in 2019 won you an 80-seat majority, won you myriads of former Labour seats.
He certainly played his part in with the election campaign.
He played his part?
But
aren't you diminishing the role he actually played in the 2019 general election?
Boris Johnson is a great campaigner, but with it comes a certain amount of baggage, and it's up to the parliamentary party to see whether the pros and the cons balance each other out or which way it tips. We'll see the vote tonight.
What is it that's led you to get to this point? Because you had put in a letter of no confidence to Sir Graham Brady previously, then you withdrew it, then you put it back in. I mean, You can't really make up your mind about this guy either.
No, I was very clear in January that the Prime Minister should have resigned in January. It was clear that Partygate was going to grow and grow and run and run. I don't think during the peak of the Ukraine war, the invasion by Putin's Russia, that was a good time to have a leadership election. I told Number 10 that if there were an election tomorrow, I was in the invidious position because of the international situation. I would have to vote confidence in the Prime Minister, therefore I couldn't leave my letter in. We're not in that situation now.
You do know the war in Ukraine is still going on?
We've had the Sugar. Our policy is set on that, and we're shipping in the heavy arms now.
And who's responsible for that policy?
The Conservative government.
The Prime Minister?
And the Prime Minister, yes.
Right, but yet you still want him gone?
At the end of the day, most of what's happened over the last 6 months in Number 10, policy has been set to sustain the position of the Prime Minister, one man, not the country. And that is not going to stop now. We've got the Privileges Committee won't report on whether the Prime Minister deliberately misled Parliament by October. This will have been running on for almost a year, distracting the government. That's no way to run a government. And quite honestly, I think the public are exasperated with it.
I'm still not clear what it is that's led you to this point.
I don't think you can be in charge of setting the rules during lockdown and then blatantly allowing people under your direct leadership to break those rules.
You knew that. Forgive me. You knew that in January. You knew that when he got the fine.
Yes.
Then you said war in Ukraine was not the right time. I don't get why you're here now.
Well, because also what we've actually seen now is, I objected to the way that Number 10 used the fear of COVID to drive compliance with draconian measures during the lockdowns, which clearly those in Number 10 were not scared of catching COVID, were they? There was no social distancing, as we saw in the Sue Gray report. There was no face masks, yet compliance by the public was driven by fear, and I don't think that's forgivable.
Okay, so this is about the behaviour of the Prime Minister, the character of the Prime Minister, rather than policies.
I'm unhappy with some of the policies we've brought in. I think.
Sorry, you're happy or unhappy?
I'm unhappy with some of the policies, such as the national insurance increase at a time of a cost of living crisis coming, increasing the burden of taxation. I can't see the sense at all in raising corporation tax. In the 12 years I've been an MP, we've dropped corporation tax from 30% to 19% and got more money in. I'll defy anyone to tell me we're going to get more money in by putting it back up to 30% now. And also, basically,
Sorry, I don't think corporation tax has gone up to 30%, 25%.
Universal benefits, £400 to every single person, every single householder.
To help with the cost of living crisis.
Well, let's not take so much tax off people and leave them to look after themselves. Now you've got millionaires who are going to be, with multiple householders, getting £400 for every house they own. I can't see that that's either fair, equitable, or a good use of government time to tax everybody so much that everyone has to be on benefits. That's not a Conservative policy.
Isn't this more about self-interest from not necessarily people like yourself? What's your majority in North West Leicestershire?
20,400.
Okay, so I mean, it's not impossible that could be overturned at the next general election.
My seat's delivering the highest economic growth in the UK and will continue to do so.
Well, so you say, but I haven't independently checked that, but fair enough, I'll take your word for it. But we've got the by-election in Devon coming up, Tiverton. The former Conservative MP Neil Parish, who said he watched pornography on his phone in the House of Commons while researching tractors, has a majority of 24,000. It might be overturned by the Liberal Democrats. That's what the bookies are saying, that's what the pollsters are saying. In Wakefield, in the north, a former Labour seat up until 2019 from 1931, much smaller majority, 3,500. And there are other MPs around the country who are thinking, oh, I might lose my seat if Boris Johnson carries on as Prime Minister. That's what it's about, isn't it? Self-interest.
Well, certainly not for me. Ultimately, we all answer to the public, however big our majorities are. And as you know, there are no such thing as a safe seat anymore. We lost in North Shropshire, didn't we?
Yeah.
Well, that was considered a safe seat. So, there's an old saying, when the public are scared of the politicians, it's tyranny. When the politicians are scared of the public, that's democracy. And we're in democracy.
OK, but in this democracy right now, people are worrying about how to put food on the table for their kids. People are making horrific choices between whether to put the heating on when it's a bit cold, like it is today, or to actually buy some tea for the family. And you lot are navel-gazing and thinking there might be a leadership contest in the Conservative Party if Boris Johnson loses.
But that doesn't stop the government functioning in the meantime.
Of course it does. Of course it does. You've just said that the Prime Minister, the government seems to be set on literally sustaining the survival of the Prime Minister, and that's gone on for 6 months. A leadership contest might happen in the summer. That goes on for weeks, if not months.
Well, we're going to have summer recess in the summer, aren't we? That's the ideal time for that leadership election. But ultimately, we are where we are. The Prime Minister could have taken a decision in the national interest and resigned in January as Partygate broke. I think that would have been a better solution for him, certainly for the country, for the government and for the Conservative Party.
So what do you say to constituents and other voters who are thinking this is so, well, let's use Nadine Dorris's words. She's the Culture Secretary. She described people like yourself as narcissistic.
Well, there's a word.
Well, does it? Are you? Is that what you're doing?
I think we're acting in the government's ultimate interest, and that's in the interest of the country. We can't carry on like this. Partygate isn't going to go away. It's going to drag on. It'll be nearly a year. I say the old adage was 6-7 days on the front pages. You had to resign. This has been 6 months, and it's not going away. And also, I don't believe the public are going to forgive and forget those breaches of the rules at Number 10 during the lockdown. Quite honestly, everyone's got their own experience of the sacrifices we all made for the greater good, and they feel very, very betrayed. And it's very raw, and I don't think at the next election people are going to forgive and forget.
Okay, so the vote is tonight between 6 and 8. Potentially we may have a results soonish after that, once the counting has been done. Is the Prime Minister going to win this no confidence vote?
I don't know. I can't speak for colleagues.
What do you think? What's your gut?
My feeling is that because it's a secret ballot, and I think there's been quite a lot of intimidation within the party to suppress the letters. I think colleagues have felt that.
Intimidation?
A fair amount.
Like what, for example?
There's been a fair bit of arm twisting.
Well, that's different from intimidation, isn't it? That's arm twisting, you might suggest, is
depends how hard you twist, I suppose,
okay.
Victoria.
Have you been subject to that? Have you had a call?
I had a call from Number 10 last night.
Saying what?
Trying to finger me for producing some briefing about the leadership issue. But
sorry, so they were on the phone to you. Who made the call? Do you mind me asking?
I'm not going to get into personalities.
So they made a call to you saying, what are you doing? You're sending a briefing round to other Conservatives who don't particularly support the Prime Minister or who are wavering.
Well, I hadn't. So.
And you hadn't. What did you say to them?
I said I didn't originate the. I've seen the article, but I didn't originate it.
This is the list of reasons why Conservative MPs shouldn't be supporting Boris Johnson.
Yes.
Have you seen it?
I've seen it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
What's on it?
The fact that he's no longer an electoral asset. That obviously we're facing Labour in the north and possibly the Lib Dems in the south, and talking about his poll ratings, which I mean if you look at the poll ratings, the Prime Minister's the only member of the cabinet with a negative rating. He's rated worse than the party. That means he's a drag on the ticket. And Number 10 will say, and Number 10 will.
Isn't that normal?
But not. It's not normal for a Conservative Prime Minister to be booed outside St Paul's Cathedral. The last time I was at St Paul's Cathedral was for Mrs Thatcher's funeral, and the only person who got booed was Tony Blair.
Okay, so is he going to win this vote?
He may well do. I can't speak for colleagues, but under the mechanism we've got, that would be it for a year. And that would take us very close to the next general election, I would put it.
And so what position would that put your party in?
Well, we'll see. I would bear in mind that the rules of the 1922 committee can be changed.
Okay.
I think
just for those viewers who want to learn more, that's the backbench committee for Conservative MPs.
Yes.
So you're saying you changed the rules so you could have another pop at him?
Well, we threatened that with Theresa May, didn't we?
God. With friends like you, who needs enemies?
Well, we have to be ruthless, otherwise we'll end up with the socialists in power, won't we? We don't want that. But with all that entails. So
you say if you don't get rid of Boris Johnson as your leader and as the Prime Minister, Labour will win the next election?
By default, I don't think Sir Keir Starmer and the Labour Party have really laid a glove on the Conservative government, but there's been a lot of self-inflicted wounds, and the public don't really like political self-harmers.
So if you got a call again today from Number 10 saying, Mr Bridgen, look, we've got this amazing trade envoy job and we think you would be absolutely perfect for it, which could be going on. You call it arm twisting, it could be, offers of knighthoods. What about that? Sir
Lovely.
Andrew Bridgen,
Knight of the Shires. It has a certain ring to it. I've been offered the trade envoys many times over. That requires you to vote always with the government, and I've never accepted that particular poison chalice.
Okay, so the arm twisting won't work with you. Thank you very much for talking to us. Thanks for giving us your time. What happens today then? Do you all just sort of gather and gossip?
No, there'll be a committee room set up, normally probably committee room 14, where the 1922 committee normally meet, and there'll be a ballot set up there. You'll go in, you'll be checked off a list to make sure you only vote once. You'll be given a ballot paper and you will go into a little booth and fill it in as a secret ballot. Yeah. And you put it in the ballot box yourself.
And how long do you think it'll take them to count?
Well, they'll have to check it, but I mean, there's only 300 and whatever it is, 60, 80.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
I think they'll do it very carefully. I don't think they'd want to make a mistake.
I don't think they would. Thank you for your time, Mr.
Thank you.
Cheers, thank you.